What's up? Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard to Trading Live with Bubba Tuesday, Super Tuesday, March the 5th. And to all of you who come regularly, I apologize for Thursday. I screwed up, but in the meantime, I'm here and markets are getting smoked right now. Not a surprise, as we've continued to say that they were overbought, and we would expect to see some selling. And of course, if you see, there you go. There's the conditions. We talk about this every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and we said that they were overbought, sell call spreads, and of course that has been the right play, and we've been pretty much on top of it going forward. But as we're here for live trading, we'll see if there's anything in for us to trade, and certainly there was a trade here, which I am in. You can still get in, but it's not as good as it was, so I would recommend probably not. I am short crude oil based on this, and of course I'm a tiny bit underwater right now, but certainly it did qualify based on this volume spike here, and of course the price spike. So again, we're shorted here, and again, pretty much quiet. A lot of data came out this morning, but the markets are really a little bit under pressure now. I don't know if this is, if we'll call this the end of the rally, or is this just another buying opportunity? I wouldn't get so anxious to be shorting into this market, especially now. I would rather wait for a rally. You can assume that we'll probably see some retracing back to the mean, and then potentially a little bit of a rally, and then we'll see. Again, I think the real key is not that we're going down now, okay? And by the way, that trade was profitable now. I just got out a part of it, okay? You can see it coming down as we worked 10 ticks below and took that off as a profit. But I think the key thing here is, you never want to chase the markets up or down. So you don't want to be a buyer up in here. No matter, even if it goes higher, you don't want to be a buyer up in here, and you don't want to be a seller down here. Okay, you want to wait for the market to go the opposite way, find a level that you're comfortable with, and buy or sell at those levels. Okay, now I think that from an overall longer term perspective, I think we'll come down to the mean, which we're almost there now. The next rally, I think, is the key as to whether or not the tops have been put in to this market or not. Okay. If the next rally makes a lower high, okay, for example, if we rally back up to, let's say, here, then I would say the tops are probably in. Okay. So that's the real key. So we have to look a little bit further into the future, but since we're trading short term right now, we're really not worried about that expectation. And right now, you got everything that is just really, really quiet. We've kind of just fallen asleep here. You had ISM services this morning, and factory orders, which, again, they're telling you that inflation is too hot. And again, if that is correct, then how can the Fed possibly cut rates? Okay, they're going to have to hike rates. That would be a greater likelihood. So if this whole rally was built on the fact that there are going to be rate cuts, well, I think you're probably out of luck. Okay. In the meantime, you've got news tomorrow. You've got the ADP unemployment number tomorrow. You've got Chair Powell in front of Congress the next 2 days, Congress and the Senate, and in the Humphrey Hawkins testimony, the banking testimony, and of course, got a lot of Fed speak. You've got jobs on Friday. So you got a week loaded with news. Okay. So I think we'll see where it all brings us to. But again, the news is what it is. The only numbers that I ever really care about are the ISM manufacturing, which was a 16th consecutive month lower, and the ISM services, because those are private numbers that are not government controlled. Okay. Again, the government's numbers are bullshit. They don't give you the right information, and nobody ever looks at the adjustments later. But again, the markets are kind of just stewing here. I did cover my shorts, okay, on the crude, so that's a profit, okay. And again, I'm not trying to rub it in or whatever. I'm just saying that was something that we looked at, and we were in a trade coming in, and we're again waiting. And I don't know that we'll get anything here to trade. But certainly if I were looking at crude, it wouldn't surprise me if it came down to here from a trading perspective. Okay. And I would look to sell some resistance up around 80 if it got up there. But in the meantime, the trade that I made is now over. you can see that the euro currency is really just consolidating. And because we're looking to trade what we call the blow-off pattern, okay, there's not really much of it going on right now. There isn't really much action going on, so it's really hard to want to get overly involved right now. I don't see any real legitimate reason to make any active trade. So while it's so slow, let's just take a look at the board. If you've been watching Apple with us, you know that we were calling for it to go lower, and now it's down to 170. So basically it got to 180, 175, and 170 in 3 days. Now, if we can get a little bit more volume on this downside, I think Apple is probably warranted of selling some put spreads here, okay? Because I would assume you've got a gap down. I would assume you're going to see at worst a bounce. Okay, again, I don't know that we're going to go back up or start to see a rally, but at worst, I'd expect a bounce from here. Amazon, again, just kind of hovering right in consolidation, nothing really to do here. Coin, okay, I think, again, you got very overbought. I think selling call spreads was the right play here, which we said the other day. And again, there you go. All right, it looks like it's starting to head lower. And again, Bitcoin itself, for those of you who follow, the Bitcoin future is down. But look, it's gone straight up. You have to assume that markets do not go straight up or straight down with any amount without having some sort of reverse and pullback or rally off of that action. Okay. I think an interesting trade you're setting up in Google right now. I would be, and I'm going to be, in fact, I'm going to set it up right now. While I'm with you, you won't see it, but I'm going to set it up right now. I'm going to actually sell some put spreads, and not because I'm bullish Google, okay, but because I think that what you're looking at here is a market that is very oversold on big volume, okay, and I think that gives you an opportunity to take advantage of a natural bounce that we should have, whether it's going lower or not. There should be some sort of natural bounce here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sell. Let's see, 130, 140 put spread is trading at 783. Okay, 783, and the 130 put is at 2, so that's 910. So it really isn't much of a bargain. So let me try to reset it and see if I can find a better. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a position that is better than the actual cost of the call in which I would be buying. So the set 140, 132, I can sell for 680. So again, I'm not getting much of a bargain. In this particular case, you could almost decide to go ahead and buy a call by itself in this particular case, because at the end of the day, okay, the likelihood is that you can get a much better shot here because you're not getting the advantage of the spreads because there's not enough premium to go ahead and get involved in it. So you can go ahead and look at the potential to buy some calls here if you want. Again, that's up to you. I'm not recommending you do so. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. Okay, and I'm going to try to buy the 132 calls for $1.25. Okay, but I will also sell some out of the money put spreads on the downside as well to try to capitalize on some time decay here at the same time, because I think that you're probably not going to see a huge dip from here. I would think there's more likely the possibility of a rally from here. And again, not that I'm bullish the stock, but I think that when you look at the bigger picture, I can sell the put spread for 42 cents, which I'm going to do. Okay. And again, all I got to do is stay above 131, which is slightly above it now. Okay. So let's go back to the markets here and see if there's anything worth trading in here. And again, right now, it looks like maybe crude might be setting up, euro currency might be setting up, but we don't really have enough volume to get overly involved here. So again, it's just something that we're going to have to watch and wait and look for. Potentially the notes might be setting up, but again, I've got to have and just a little tool. If you just draw a line against your volume, I don't have to look at the chart. I don't really care. If the volume does not reach my line there, then I'm not trading it anyways. It doesn't really, I don't care what it does. Okay. It has no bearing because this trade is based on price and volume. So if I don't see the volume bar spike up here, so I don't have to stare at, in other words, if I don't have to stare at the chart, I don't have to make myself crazy trying to find a trade that doesn't exist. And that's the unfortunate problem with many traders is they see the mirage of a trade that they think is a trade, which it's really not. Okay. And so, you know, if that volume doesn't occur, then I'm not in the advantage spot. I'm not in the best spot for activity. So it makes more sense for me to sit on the sidelines and wait for what I'm looking for in this case. Again, these are different types of trading opportunities that we look for at all times. And again, I don't have to do anything right now because there's nothing for me to really do. Okay. And that's something that you want to always focus on is where is your overall opportunity? Where do you get the opportunity to make that choice? And right now, again, there's just not much of an opportunity. So where am I going to go? I'm not, if I don't get what I need, which is price and volume, I am not going to force into myself into a trade because it doesn't make any real sense to do that. And I think you just have to be focused enough and patient enough to wait for it, because what happens is you have no trades, and then suddenly, like this morning, okay, with my group that I trade in the morning with, we had no trades, then we had one small loser, okay, and then suddenly, after the numbers came out, there was a potential of 5 or 6 trades, okay, and you got to be prepared to do that and be prepared to act upon those trades when they come. Now, if you're new and haven't been trading, you know, short term like this, then you need to be much more careful, okay, and don't take all the trades that come at one time, okay, because there you are putting yourself and setting yourself up for failure, all right, because again, if you have too much to manage, too many people get nervous and make the wrong decision. You've got to be able to set your stop and be able to put yourself in the best position overall without creating a mental mess for yourself. And that happens far too often with traders, is they make themselves nuts and put themselves in trades they don't belong in. So again, right now you can see there is zero volume occurring here. You know, again, this is not enough for me to get involved in. I got no interest here. Okay, the only thing that is potentially going to be close right now will be crude oil as a buy. Now, we were a seller earlier, which we just missed it before I got in. And again, it doesn't matter. It's only one trade. Okay, and it didn't have to work. Okay, so now we're kind of watching and waiting. And again, I'm using 4 minutes here. You can certainly go lower if you want. I mean, the bottom line is the shorter the time frame, the more active you want to be. But the rules that we trade by are still the same. They don't change. Okay, so please remember that no matter what time frame you're trading, you still have rules that you must abide by. Okay, because if you don't abide by the rules, then you're breaking disciplines and you're putting yourself in jeopardy. And certainly, why would you want to do that? Okay, and I think that's something that, you know, that too many people do to themselves, is they force themselves into bad positions, which again, no reason for you to do that. Okay, you're much better off being patient enough to wait for it. Okay, now certainly, if you're a grain trader potentially, now grains are a little bit different. They're not 24 hours a day. They close at 2:15 Eastern, and they don't reopen until tonight. But certainly, if you're a person who understands or trades the grains, there is certainly a potential look in the wheat market, for example, okay? Because this is a true blow-off, and the wheat is a potential trade. Now, I'm not recommending, again, if you're not comfortable, these are products that you may not be comfortable with. So don't start jumping because I said it's a potential trade. Again, I would trade it, and I am trading it, but it may not be for you. You have to pick what you're comfortable with And the other thing about the grain markets, for those who want to trade actively, okay, the exchange fees, forget about your commissions can be free. The exchange fees are bigger than any commission you're paying. Okay. They're like $1.90 or $2 a side just for exchange fees. So when you trade the grain market, you're typically committing to saying, okay, I'm going to be in this for a longer period of time. Okay. And crude oil is a potential here. So now let's go ahead and take a look. It reached our target of volume. So now we got to see. So our stop on the downside would be, as it sits right now, would be 77.75. And we would be looking to be a buyer here. 77.75 would be our stop. Okay. We have to wait. We have to wait till the bar closes before we step in. Okay. But 77.75 would be your stop. And we're going to be a buyer at 78.52 or above. Okay. And if you want to trade, or if you're trading with me, go ahead and play it. Okay. And 77.79 is, of course, your stop. Okay. Go ahead and put an order in. If you traded multiples, which I hope you're doing on the micros, put an order in to sell 1 10 ticks above, 1 20 ticks above, but get your stop in as well at 77.79. Okay. So we're now working, and now we're waiting for a little bit of hopefully get a little bit of a pop here. Okay. This trade is slightly profitable at the moment, but again, we didn't take the profit, so it don't count for profit. Right? You got to cash the ticket for it to be a profitable trade. Otherwise, you're just kidding yourself. Okay. So again, we're watching, and again, you see there is no action in the indexes. You can see there's no action in the euro currency, no action in gold, no action in here. The only action right now on the board is in the crude oil market. And okay, so we're here waiting, and we'll be ready to go for it. And we do have a position, or at least I have a position. Okay. And again, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, we're just kind of sitting here quietly with not a lot to do. Okay. So I tell you just to be very careful here. And again, obviously you have your stop in, so you don't have to worry about it. Now the trade's a tiny loser. Okay. And it'll go back and forth, and we'll see if either it'll bounce hard, which is what we're looking for, or it will fail and it'll end up being a losing trade. But we have a long way before it becomes a losing trade. No stops are very important as to where you set them. You have to keep a lot of things out of the way so that you don't get caught in what they would call a little bit of a vacuum. Okay. And getting a little bit of a pop right now. Maybe it'll. All right. So because we're going to be cutting off here shortly, okay, I got one of mine off. Okay, so I've got 3 left over. Go ahead and put your stop at break even if you took the trade. I don't want you to be a loser, and I won't be here to manage it most likely for you. So go ahead and put your stop at break even if you did take this trade. Okay, because again, since I won't be able to help you, if you're new doing this, I don't want you to be stuck. Okay, so you're at worst will be break even on this trade, and you can let it run and move your stop up as it reaches. I would move my next stop if it reaches 78.84, I'd move my stop up and lock in 10 to 15 ticks there and continue to walk it up as it breaks through levels. If it does, it may not again, but at least you know that at worst you're at break even, so you have nothing to worry about other than how much money you're going to make. Okay, and that's a pretty good position to be in. And we'll be back on Thursday for the full show, but of course every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time, I do an update, which is about a minute. So have a great day, everybody. And we'll see you back here tomorrow morning with the update. But of course, on Thursday, live trading. Adios. Have a good day.
All opinions expressed by Tradier Hub contributors are solely the contributors' opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Hub contributors as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. The contributors' opinions are based on their own personal research, but neither Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries warrants its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. Any trades or positions discussed or referred to by contributors may or may not be actual live trades or positions. Such information is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Tradier Inc. is the parent company of Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. and Tradier Inc. are separate entities with their own products and services. Securities products and services are offered through Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. is an independent subsidiary of Tradier Inc., all rights reserved, member FINRA SIPC.